wowie, wowie, wowie. The last day of the month again. How many times are we going to do the last day of the month? So we are on the last day of May, where next month, which is June, will be the first 6 months. And on June 25th will be the Christmas of the first 6 months. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And then the next 6 months, which starts with July, it will be 6 months till Christmas, which is December 25th. All right, so how are you guys doing? It's been, actually, it's been 2 weeks. Last week, I was out and about, surprised that I was out and about. I didn't expect to go anywhere. So what do we got going this week? Everything seems to be calm and in order, but that's only for the moment. If you guys want to join me, as always, the link is down below in the description. And I better be prepared because I need earbuds. Because it will be feedback time. So the earbuds have an end, which is right here. And so if anybody decides to join, I think I'm almost prepared. The only thing I have to do is go plug the earbuds into the Mac. It's not the Mac Mini. What do I have? I have the Mac something desktop. Scotty is here. Get those peanut M&Ms ready. It's Friday night. I've been having sugar again, and you know what? When I eat sugar, I just don't feel as good. So I think the key is, if you're going to have some sugar, Peter, a little bit of balance would help, you know. So I might have, let's say I had those M&Ms with the peanuts. Instead of having the whole freaking bag full, maybe just 3 or 4, get that feeling and get it over and out of my system. And then we will actually be tasting pretty good. Here's my kazoo. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-doo. Okay, so anyway, I put the E10, the Sony E10 up for sale, and the same guy decided he wants to buy it, and he has stood me up twice. He was supposed to come between 5 and 6 o'clock today. No show. As a matter of fact, not even a communication. Okay, so I don't know. They just don't make kids like they used to. He is 19 years old, and I'm figuring, you know, that maybe it's because he's young, but he sounded so solid. I was eager to make a new friend. Nope, ain't going to be. So, geeky, nerdy, techie, Peter is live. How you doing, Shane? Good to see you all the way from San Jose. Randy, I was thinking of you because we almost had an emergency tonight, technically speaking. And you know what's a good idea? Is to have a backup. So if this entire room went down, I figured I would go into the kitchen. So I was casually in the kitchen because I have a studio in there. I have a Mac Mini, the M1, and that is set up. And nope, it does not register a camera, does not register the Black Magic. I updated these, what do you call it? The operating system. I updated Ecamm. I updated the Black Magic driver. Doesn't even see a camera. Not a camera in sight. So I was always thinking, like, if we have an emergency, we'll just do this show from the kitchen. Because I can record in here and I can record in the kitchen. But it's another thing to live stream. But it just wasn't ready. Mac M2 Mac Studio. Hello, everybody. M2 Mac. Oh, Max. M2 Max. Oh, that's what I have. Randy knows what I got. So I can't think of any other reason why none of the cameras are registering in the kitchen. I'm assuming that Sonnet box is not registering because the Black Magic design card is not registering, and that's where all the cameras are plugged in. speaking of cameras, I'm planning on selling the 2 Sony A7c IIs, and I'm probably going to sell Eleanor, the ZV-E1, and that'll give me enough money to actually buy the new FX2, which I do happen to like. Now, it's not the darling of everybody, and I'm not going to start by apologizing for it, but there's, like Shane said in his video about it, it's either a camera that's for you or not. Let me get my paper. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I wrote notes. Yes, I did. Hey, there's Howl. I'll be right back. Hold on. I also remembered I had to plug in the earbuds. All right, so I guess the FX2 from Sony is like a hot topic. Everybody wants to make videos about it, and I feel encouraged to make a video also. So hi, Eric. Love you, buddy. Hello, everybody. Is there a way to get a stuck filter ring extension unstuck? How stuck is it? All right, so I'm not the best expert on this, but what I'm thinking is if you put pressure on 2 points, it's not going to unstick. You need to get a general amount of pressure. So they make like a cloth, like this is a washcloth, but it's rubberized. I have some of them here. They're cut up. Let me find one so you know what I'm talking about, Eric. All right, so this is what it looks like. This is the white version. It's like a rubber, and it looks like a waffle. And it's in Publix or the grocery store, and it's basically designed to be a shelf liner. Okay, so if you put, let's say this was a lens, and it's not, all right. If you put this over the entire ring, you got, at least with 5 fingers, you got 5 different pressure points. And then you would turn it at that point. And if that didn't work, then with this on, you'd get like, what's that wrench called that it's got a screw at the channel locks, okay? But the point is you can't put a high amount of pressure just on 2 points. It'll basically lock it into place. So you want to get something that's got a grippy to it, and then from there you're going to have to work it out. But I find this stuff comes in like the blender. I put the blender on one of these in the kitchen so it doesn't walk off the counter. I'll put the Mac that's on the table so it doesn't get pulled off or something on something like this. It's like a rubber grip, but it's where the store would have shelf liner material, where the shelf liner would be very slippery, dippery, okay? And they come in different colors. This is the blue one. This is from a full sheet of this same thing, but this one is like a beige, because it's designed to be sold as a grippy for shelf liners. And I use that to open jars, and anything that I can't get a grip on, I use that. After that, Randy is saying a jar top remover, which that's what this is. This is a jar top remover. But any other kind of jar top remover, okay? So the main point that I'm trying to make is you got to dissipate the pressure points, because the more you put on 1 or 2 spots, even 3, you're pinning it. You're never going to turn it, okay? And don't have the lens on the camera. You don't want to damage the camera. So I didn't say hi to Hal. Hi, Hal. Hi, Hal. How you doing? Links in the description. Anybody who wants to come in, you're welcome to come on in. Come on in. All right. So here's my notes. And I'm going to make a video, God willing, and the bridge isn't up, because I say I'll make a video, okay? And then I don't. And that's because I don't really feel like I want to. But now I really feel I've got an angle to play, okay? So this is my notes on the FX2. Now, why is this interesting to anybody? Because this camera is actually going to be on at the top of my recommendation list if you want to get into the Sony line, because we got a bunch of different lines, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Panasonic. You're looking at a Panasonic right now, the S5 Mark II. And once you tune the camera in, it does a great job. I have no complaints about what I'm seeing here. I don't know what you're seeing at your house, but what I'm seeing here, she looks mighty fine, okay? So Randy says to keep glass and plates and stuff from moving on the shelf. Yeah, it's rubbery on both sides. The rubber doesn't come off, but it's like great. When I'm making bread and I got the mix master and it shakes and stuff, it can slide, even though it's got 4 rubber feet, it could slide right off. Kaboom. Okay. So that's what I use that material for. So this is going to be my angle on the FX2. Everybody wants to have an angle when they make a video. And sometimes it's a negative angle. Like what? I've seen a couple of videos. No, I haven't watched the videos. All right. But I've seen the titles of like the FX2. Why did they even make it? Okay. What's the reason they made the camera? And they'll go on and use that as the bait to get you to go in. So my bait is going to be the FX2. Listen to this. So that my thumbnail is going to say the FX2 fixes the ZVE1. The FX2 fixes the A7C Mark II. The FX2 fixes the FX3. The FX2 fixes the A7 Mark IV. And that's going to be my thumbnail. And it's going to be like, Peter, when did all those cameras get broken? All right, so let me show you what I see as the forte behind the FX2 inside the Sony line, okay? Whether it competes with a Nikon, a Canon, Panasonic's got the new S1 Mark II. The one I'm watching now is the S5 Mark II. You can compare lines, but some people are already embedded in the Sony system, and therefore they are actually probably going to stay in the Sony system. So the FX2, all right, so here's how it fixes Eleanor. Eleanor is my ZVE1, all right? So Eleanor is a 12 megapixel camera. The FX2 is very, very similar in design, size, weight, but it's a 33 megapixel camera. So if you got the ZVE1, you're going, gosh, I wish I had more megapixels, you would buy the FX2. And the price difference is $21.95 to $26.95. It's not that great. In other words, it's not like $38.95, okay, which I'll get to when we get to the FX3. It fixed that $3,800 price, okay? So on the ZVE1, it's going to take your 12 megapixel and move it up to 33. It's going to take the overheating, which can happen, and it's going to have a built-in fan on the FX2. The ZVE1 does not have a built-in fan. Yes, you can add a fan, okay? If you're saying on the ZVE1, I like this camera so much, but my God, it needs more card slots. Well, you've got an SD card slot on the FX2, and you've got a CF Express on the FX2, where you only have one card slot on the ZVE1 on my Eleanor. There's no viewfinder on Eleanor. The FX2 has a viewfinder, and Eleanor doesn't give me shutter angles, which is great for when you're vlogging or heavy into video. And the FX2 has solved all those problems on your ZVE1. Are they comparable? Yes, it would be a camera you could buy in place of the ZVE1. Okay, so I'm not just going to pick a camera like the E10 Mark II or something to that effect. I'm picking a camera that instead of buying the ZVE1, it corrects all those items that I just mentioned. Okay, so on the next camera, the A7c Mark II, which is currently my favorite camera. All right. And the reason it moved into my favorite camera, even over the ZVE1, which is Eleanor, is because they added dynamic active stabilization. So you have dynamic active image stabilization on the FX2. So instead of buying the A7C Mark II, you get, instead of one card slot, again, you're going to get 2 card slots. So if you're one of those that doesn't feel comfortable with 1 card slot, go for the gusto and get the camera that's got 2. Very similar camera. They operate the same environment, let's put it that way. On the overheating problem for the A7C Mark II, which I really haven't had much, but I haven't been out in the summer heat yet. Okay, well, the FX2's got a fan. The A7C Mark II doesn't. The A7C Mark II, which is a camera I love, my current favorite one, but it's got the mini HDMI. What? That should be illegal. Who the hell put that in there? Did I mention that on the ZVE1? No, I better write that down. It's got, the ZVE1 also has a mini HDMI. Let me write that down because when I make the video, I don't want to miss that. All right, HDMI. Hello. I hate when I pick up a pen and it doesn't write. HDMI. It's a micro versus full. All right. So that's another thing for the ZVE1. So you get your full size for the ZVE1 and you get your full size for the A7c II. Now the A7c II is 33 megapixels, winner, winner, chicken dinner. So you got your bigger, that's why I moved to the A7c II. It's got the 33 megapixels and it's got the dynamic active image stabilization and all that kind of stuff. And after that, it's minor stuff. But on the overheating, the A7c II, my A7c II, it doesn't have a fan. The FX2 has the fan. Would I rather have the FX2 over the A7c II? Yeah. Okay. Dynamic active, I was going to say it doesn't have it, but 2 weeks ago, it got it. So the A7c II now does have dynamic active stabilization. Not a lot of cameras that have it, but the A7c II does have it. However, it's got the mini micro HDMI, doesn't have a fan. It's only got 1 card slot. Does my A7C Mark II actually have a shutter angle settings in there? Nope, it doesn't. Does the FX2 have it? By golly, Miss Molly, yes, it does. And guess what else? The A7c II does not have dual ISO. The FX2 does have the dual ISO. So it's fixed the major problems, not every problem, but the major problems that is in the A7c II. So would I rather have the A7c II or the FX2? I would rather have the FX2. Would I rather have Eleanor, the ZVE1, or the new FX2? I'd rather have the new FX2. How about the FX3? All right, one of the biggest problems with that camera is it's $3,898 is the price, and the new FX2 is $2,600. So where are they shooting it? Where are they shooting it down? I'll tell you exactly, and it's actually a pretty major point. It might be a deal breaker for you. It really could be. Okay, it isn't for me, but it could be for you, and that's why these cameras are very individuality based. Okay, the let's see, FX3 is 60p is cropped. It's a 1.5 on the FX2. That's where it burns you. But it'll cost you $1,200 more to move into the FX3 to get it. If that is worth $1,200 additional, then you need the FX3 or possibly one of the other cameras. For me, I don't have a problem with 60p. You put a wider lens on it. It crops it down, and yes, I have the 11mm crop lens, and it brings it out to a 16, 17mm. Okay, so the FX3 is a 12 megapixel camera. You want to be enlarging, you want to zoom in and stuff like that. Not on 12 megapixels. You can, okay, but would you rather have a 33 megapixels? FX2 fixes that for your FX3. The FX3 has got a worse, it sounds kind of negative. The FX2 is 30% better in the focus system than the FX3. And that is out of Sony's mouth themselves. I'm not rating it. I'm not belittling any camera. I'm just telling you that Sony themselves says FX2 is 30% better on the focusing than the FX3. Take it or leave it, okay? The FX3 has no viewfinder. The FX2 has a viewfinder. So your price, 12 megapixels, better autofocus, no viewfinder, all that is fixed with the FX2. It fixes the FX3 as a choice, okay? Now we got the A7 Mark IV, all right? So the A7 Mark IV is actually a better camera because it actually's got a full frame 60p, okay, not cropped, but it's got overheating. Now, I don't have that camera, but I think Jim Mundy does, and they would be able to tell you, somebody with that camera will be able to tell you if it's got overheating problems, and I do hear, by watching YouTube videos, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, that it actually will overheat. Well, the FX2 fixes that. And how do they fix it? They put a fan in there. The A7 Mark IV does not have shutter angle. You're very much into using the 180-degree shutter angle and automating that aspect of it. Well, the FX2 has that. The A7 Mark IV doesn't. The A7 Mark IV does not have dual ISO. So what dual ISO means, you ISO goes 100, 200, 400. What's after 400? 800, but there's a 640 and a 500 in there. So they'll take something like 400 or 800, and then it'll start rising, and as it rises, it gets noise, and then at some point, whoosh, it's a clean slate. So the FX2 actually has the dual ISO in it. And the my ZBE1 Eleanor, that one's got dual ISO, and the FX3 has dual ISO, but the A7 IV doesn't have it. So the FX2 corrects the overheating, no dual ISO, and the A7 Mark IV does not have a shutter angle setting. And the whole setup of the camera, it's got the hump on the top, where the FX2 doesn't have that. It's more, it's a much smaller camera, easier to go, hey, this is Peter, and I'm talking to you, okay? So it's great for going around. Now, the only other one that I might include when I make that video is, what does it fix on the FX30? Because the FX30, the FX3, and the FX2 are very, very, very similar cameras. All right. So the FX30's got a full frame HDMI. It does not have dual ISO. So that's one of the things you get on the FX2 over the FX30. Okay. And of course, the big thing is the FX30 is, the whole camera is a crop sensor. The FX2 is a full frame camera, and of course you could put crop frame on there, and you could put full frame lenses, and you have full frame on there. Okay, so it also does not have dynamic active. The FX30 does not have dynamic active image stabilization. So in looking at the FX30, the ZVE1, the A7C II, the A7 Mark IV, and the FX3, they all have individual problems of a large nature. I'm not picking out little tiny things. I'm picking out big ones, okay? Like the price being $3,900 versus $2,700 in the US dollars. That's a pretty big difference, okay? So that would be a major difference. So the FX2 actually takes each of Sony's cameras and finds their biggest weak spots and fixes it. 12 megapixels versus 30. Shutter angle versus no shutter angle. A large regular size HDMI versus the little small one. Dual card slots or 2 card slots versus 1 card slot. That I mentioned, dual ISO, 12 megapixels versus 33. I think I'm repeating myself at this point, okay? So when you look at the FX2 and you look at all of Sony's lineup, you could take each of these points from 4 or 5 different cameras. Let's see, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Sony cameras, and all the basics are retained. All the basics are retained, so we're not throwing other stuff out, okay? But each of the major I don't like it points on 5 different Sony cameras are all fixed in one camera at the same time. And that is why the FX2 exists. So if a guy has the ZVE1 like me, I got that camera. Okay, and I have a new lens from Randy, and I'm shooting birds and stuff, and you know, I'm not using the ZVE1 because it's 12 megapixels, and when you're shooting a bird, you can't get that close. You got to give it some room, so I need to zoom in. Well, 33 megapixels, baby. Okay, or you jump out of the Sony line and go to something else that's got all of this stuff in it in a very convenient way. And that would actually be probably the Lumix, the Panasonic. Nikon also. I'm not going to fault any cameras because that's not my style. But it really got me thinking when the people were going and making videos. And their main reason for you to come watch their video is like, why? Why does the FX2, why did Sony even make that? Because it fixes 5 different cameras all in one and keeps all the, 14 bits and H.265s and all that really good stuff. It's all still in there. So they didn't throw out a lot of junk to make room for this. So the camera, if you were to say, Peter, what camera should I get? And I mean, I don't want to buy a $4,000 camera. I would say the FX2 is the best camera to grow into. Now, what the FX30, I just thought of another thing. That has anamorphic settings. I don't think any of the other cameras, including the FX2, I'll have to look that up, has the anamorphic settings inside of it. Maybe the FX3. That one, I'm going to have to look it up and actually have that in my video. So that is my points on why the FX2 exists, because rather than going and making software updates or hardware updates to 5 different cameras, they did it all in one camera. Okay? And what's the Achilles heel? What's the weakness? The 60p is cropped. It goes down to what they call Super 35, which is basically a 1.5 crop. Now, if that is something that really gets you, that would be a deal breaker. For the people where it doesn't, it's a winner chicken dinner everywhere else. So that's my presentation on the FX2, why it exists. So I'm going to sell the my ZVE1, which I should be able to pull $1,800 used. and the prices are going up because the tariffs on again, off again, on again. Okay, so the cameras that are not already in the system, they're coming in at a higher price. And between that camera, which if I get 1800, and then the two E10s, if I can get like 530 for each one of them, that'll cross me over into the $2,700, and I can replace and have that camera. And I've got a good lens lineup with my Sony, and that'll be that camera everywhere with me. So for me personally, the biggest things that I like is 33 megapixels. It's got a full-size HDMI, and it's got a built-in fan, so I don't have to be somewhere and worry about overheating. I don't have to worry about the focus ability, because the focus ability is it's their newest focus system. There ain't nothing better, honey, okay? So it winds up being the camera that sits pretty for me unless I go outside into another system. And the system that I actually would look into would be the Panasonic, but I would start looking at the weight of the camera body, okay? Because I like to hold the camera up and kind of like a phone. Hey, how you doing? And it is fairly light, all right? So the Eleanor, fairly light, okay? And Eleanor, the thing I loved about Eleanor, and still do, is it's got dynamic active image stabilization. One of the best image stabilizations on the market. FX2 has that. So that is my little presentation. Did you like it? Or are you giving me a thumbs down? Okay, so I talked and I told Eric my idea. Hal, how you doing, Hal? I miss talking to you. How's it going? I actually was going to text you to see if everything's all right, because I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks, because I wasn't even here last week. Okay, so Randy is telling Eric to use the top of a jar, and with that non-slip surface, he uses the material when he first started car vlogging. So did I. I take the mat, I put it on the dash, okay, and it keeps the camera from sliding around because it's kind of like a rubbery feel to it. If I stop unfolding it, I can put it back easy. Boy, who's the one with the brain around here? Okay, so the Wolf is here. Just pre-ordered the FX2 today. Great camera. You guys, I hope you use my links, because they will drop a few pennies in my jar. Okay, and that's kind of important to me, because that's the attaboy. That's the tap on the back when they give me a few bucks at the end of the month. And the only way I get that is if they use the affiliates, but it's not that much, is the new t-shirt. So if you go to the petergregg.com, and I think I have a link to that at the bottom, but it's not that hard. It's petergregg.com. But Gregg is Gregg. I've been designing some t-shirts. The one we've been talking about them here. Now this matters. That's a great saying for a t-shirt. Now this matters. Okay. And my goal is the sky, not the grave. And I got it coming in hats, in mugs, hoodies, and aprons, and who knows what else I got in there. So good for you, Wolf. I'm glad that you ordered that. I recommend that camera. Shane says in Australia, it's the same price as the S1 Mark II. Okay. And only a hair cheaper than the FX3. Only a hair? Over here, it's like $1,200 cheaper, which is quite a bit of hair. Look at the hair on my head. See, I got a little bit of hair. Okay. At launch. Correct. At launch. Crazy prices here. Yeah, what's going on? It's $2,000 more than the S5 Mark II, I'm guessing. Oh, S5 Mark II X. The X threw me off, Shane. So, yeah, and that's a great camera too. But if I had to use the ZV-E1 or the S5 Mark II or the X that you have to vlog, I'd rather grab the ZV-E1. So that's why I moved over to the A7C Mark II, because it's fixed most of the weaknesses of the ZVE1 when they added dynamic image stabilization, and now they've added a whole new camera. And they put everything in from those 5 cameras, all locked up into one, except this full frame 60p. Okay? I just want to keep that front and center so nobody gets a surprise. But it shouldn't be a problem. You just got to get a wider lens. Okay, so hello everybody. A thunderstorm passed, but the power did not go out here at the newspaper office. I hope everyone is doing well. We actually had a pretty strong thunderstorm. When was it? I think around noon. And it was thundering and lightning. I almost came in here and turned everything off because you don't want a power surge. Randy says he survived 3 days of storms. It's humid, waiting for the mosquitoes to suck the life out of me. Well, when I have to go outside and take pictures or something and the mosquitoes are really hot, you know the Vicks Vapor Rub? Yeah, the kind you put in your nose and smells. I put like here, like cologne. Here and here, on my wrist, my arm, my ankles, my thighs if I'm wearing shorts, and it repels them. They do not like, the Vicks Vapor Rub. And speaking of Vicks Vapor Rub, Hal has been sick for 2 weeks. Vicks does wonders. Put it on your feet at night before you go to sleep and put a sock on, and it kind of draws the poisons out of your body. I hope you're feeling a little better. You know, if you told me, I would have, prayed for you. And Mookie is telling everybody to stay safe. Shane says the price is so crazy outside of the U.S. For that price crops might be the deal breakers. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what I'd buy in Australia if they were all the same price. I like the FX2. I'm not buying it because of the price. So let's say, and I don't know your personal opinion on this one, but let's say the 60p is a deal killer for you, okay, in crop mode, then you'd probably, well, I know you like the Panasonic. You favor that one, so you're probably all set in what you want, okay? So Randy... says, does the Sony FX2 do 460 60p 4K? I've been saying that all night. It crops. That's its Achilles heel. It's got a 1.5 crop at 60p. Other than that, it beats all the other cameras at every point. Okay, dual ISO, full-size HDMI, 33 megapixels, dynamic active image stabilization, shutter angle. I don't even know all the other parts. It has HDR, where half of the other cameras don't. The FX30 does. The ZVE1 does not have HDR. The A7c II does not have HDR. I guess I didn't look it up on the A7 Mark IV. My guess is it would. And the FX3, my guess is it would have it on there too. So, but it does have it. So, and the dynamic active image stabilization, that to me is key. If I can't walk around and just whip out a video, quick and easy, then it's not someplace that I really want to park any money, because I keep the A7 Mark II sitting on the desk, and I've got the 3 lenses sitting there, the 11mm f1.8. And Randy's sending me the 10 to 20, so that might replace it. Okay. I got the 20 to 70 f4, and I've got the 70 to 350, and it's a crop, which means it goes up to 550 millimeters. If you don't think that's fun, I sat in the backyard today on one of the folding chairs, and I took like 4 slices of bread. I chopped it up into little bits, and then I just scattered it around the pool and on the grass, and I was taking pictures of the birds. So one of the birds got spooked, and he dropped the little piece of bread right in the pool. And I'm going like, okay, it's going to have to get vacuumed up. Lo and behold, another bird came and scooped it right out of the pool. So I cut up another couple of pieces of bread and I cast my bread on the water, as the song goes. And then they started scooping, and I got some pictures of the. I didn't do that great. My angle wasn't so hot. Of the birds diving and getting the bread out of the pool water. So I got some pretty fun pictures. I'll probably put them up on the big channel. So, fun times, fun times. So, yeah, fair enough. Good points. Okay. Thank you, Shane. Well, coming from Shane, that's pretty good because he's kind of like the Australian Gerald Undone. He's serious, intellectual, smarter than most people, gets to the point, doesn't joke around like I do. And Gerald Undone doesn't joke around like I do. And he gets to the point. And Shane, geeky, nerdy, techie, basically is the Australian Gerald Undone. So his channel is going to fly. It's going to take off. Like Carlos's. Carlos Bouquet Bushudo, his took off. So that's actually an important feature. So at this point, we have, okay, where did I leave off on here? Hal has been sick, so let's keep Hal in our prayers. The S5 Mark II, can you fault the picture? I didn't even remember to put the hair light on. So where is that hair light? Let's see if I can get that on. There we go. AA battery on the floor. That turns on the hair light, so now I look angelic. And it turns on the Christmas tree, too. So, sorry about that, guys. So, Shane... Oh, Norm is here. The Panasonic AG160 AP video camera. AC AG160 AP video camera. That would be his choice. I don't know the camera, but I'm guessing it's a camcorder. I haven't done anything with a camcorder in a long time. Yeah, I'm not that stiff. Yeah, I'm not that stiff. I didn't say you were stiff. I shoot with my cameras outside. That's fine, whether you shoot them inside or outside. I'm guessing I'm not that stiff. When you say I'm not that stiff, that means like, to me, that's strict. You can get by with, the 60p being cropped. So strict. Strict would be a good word. That if I were to say it in an American way, yeah, I'm not that strict. I can shoot 60p. So what the goodness of 60p does is if you shoot in 60p, you put it on a 24p timeline when you're going to crop it. When you're going to develop it or process it. And when you put it on that, you slow it down. What do you slow it down to? I think 80% or something to that effect. And it gives you a beautiful, clean, smooth slow motion, all from the same file. So you don't have to go, oh, let's go to 120 frames per second. Oh, let's go back to my 24 frames per second. Just shoot the whole thing in 60p. And when you're doing that, you've got both your slow motion and your regular motion, two mints in one, okay, all rolled up into one. So that makes it so that it's very convenient. And I've done that on a couple of shoots that where I've left. So whether I sell Eleanor or the A7C Mark II, it's Eleanor that's going to go because I'm going to go with the 33 megapixels over the 12. I don't find the A7C Mark II giving me hardly any trouble in low light. I should do a video on that and walk around at night like I did for Carlos when we couldn't decide what would happen at a campfire. So I went out at 2 in the morning and walked around in the dark and it looked very bright. So I guess when the 10 to 20 millimeter comes in, I'll put that on the A7C Mark II, and that'll be an f4, so that's going to force it to use higher ISO. And I'll know as soon as I get it on the computer and I look at it on the screen, if the grain is kind of like crazy, then I won't like that, okay? So that'll be something to contemplate. Can you spell contemplate? Because I can't. All right, so there we go. What else have we got going? What do I know about you guys during the week? Well, I got excited because this kid, you know, he's a professional race car driver. He's got a team, and they go around the country, and he races NASCAR and stuff like that. So I figured this kid is big into discipline, and he brings his family with him, his dad. So when he said, I'll give you a couple of $100 to lock up the camera, stupid me said, no, you sound very, you know, very put together and disciplined, and all I need is your word. And he goes, I'll give you my word. I'll come by tomorrow and I'll pick up the camera. And I said, great, just give me your word that you want it. Otherwise, set me free, because I've got it on the marketplace and I'm looking at other places to put it. And he says, nope, I'm committing to the camera. So the next day came, not a peep, not a word. And I'm going like, oh, great. So this morning he wrote, oh, I got busy. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to come. I'm going to come this afternoon. Send me your address, and no show. Okay. 2 days in a row. So I'm going back through the people that expressed interest in the camera on Facebook, the marketplace, or I'll just let it stay there for a couple of weeks and it will sell. So I got it listed at $560. It's like in brand new condition. It's got less than 300 clicks on it on the shutter. It's the black one because I have the black version and the white. And I'll take anything at $530 and higher. Okay. B&H will actually give me $492 for that camera. And then they're going to, what are they going to put on top of it? 10% or something and sell it. So that'll be past, you know, as a used camera, it'll be past $530. So they're getting it. It's local. All they got to do is come pick it up, and it's a win-win for everybody. Plus, if I get the $1,000 out of the two E10s, one black one, one white one, and if I get $1,800 out of Eleanor ZV E10, that'll put me at $2,800. So you take the FX2 and you add whatever they're going to add, tax or shipping, or, you know, I'm going to try to weasel my way around that. Randy might be able to help me with that. So it'll be a trade. Now, the E10s, I haven't used them for anything. But if I need another camera, I still will have the A7 Mark II here, the way I see it. And other than the fact that if I need to plug it in here, it's got the mini HDMI, which those break easy. In case you're wondering, why are you groaning and moaning about the mini HDMI? They're very fragile. And when they're fragile, you might use it 10 or 15 times, and it might, you know, start to wobble, and then whatever one of the connections will break, and it's an automatic $300 repair. So the full-size HDMI is very solid. I've never had one break. I shouldn't say that too loud. I just kicked that battery that I said was rolling. So Shane says stiff means serious. Okay, it sounded like, you know, strict or serious or something. Right on the mark. Very good. So I guess the direct question is, Shane, is the 60p in a crop mode automatically a crop mode? You don't have a choice. Is it a deal breaker for your style and what you do? Because you would probably be that kind of guy that wouldn't buy that camera for that reason. And if it isn't, does the FX2 appeal to you, or it doesn't? If you want to, you can come on. I'll put you on, and you can talk about it. And you can even talk about how the S1 Mark II, the Panasonic stuff, appeals to you more than the Sony stuff. Now, I know you sold out your Sony stuff, but I'm not sure, but I think you still have one or two cameras in the Sony line, which is great. So Randy says that he used his A6700 today with 3 different lenses, the 18 to 135, the 70 to 350. I used that today. Yay! And the Sigma 56 1.4. That one's sharp. And he says sharp, and the photos were excellent. Yeah. I actually have a better lens lineup now for Sony than any of my other bodies, which is surprising because I went into this deal not liking Sony all that much. To me, it's like more of a computer that takes pictures, where Canon and Nikon and Lumix is, and Fuji is a camera that's computerized, okay? And there's a difference. So, but they've been getting better and better and better and better. But where I wanted to see the lenses. So today I shot the birds with the 70 to 350 on the A7C Mark II, which will automatically put that camera into a into the crop sensor mode. So the 350 becomes 550. I was getting mighty close. And I put the camera to the bird mode. Wow, it found the birds out in the yard and in the grass and by the pool, and it's like the eye, the little dot on the eye. For a while I thought it wasn't finding it at all, but it makes a tiny little speck on the eye, meaning it focused on the eye. Too bad I can't put some of those pictures up on here. But I was impressed. And Randy says, don't forget the ZV-1. The ZV-1 and the computer. I got a Windows computer that I started to open the boxes. Going to get them set up because somebody all of a sudden seems to be wanting it. So I'm getting pushed into that, and Randy's been pushing me for half a year. So the ZV-1, because I have the ZV-1 Mark II, which I like. What a nice little camera. Okay. Very small, will actually fit in your pants pocket. No trouble whatsoever. It might even fit in this pocket, the shirt pocket. So it's the Mark II. Now the Mark I is a smaller sensor. It's a stronger lens in terms of doesn't go wide enough. Where the ZV-1 Mark II will go to 18 millimeters, which is great. Okay. So that's what we've got going on there. So I think I have one of those. I might put that up for sale also. And Norm says, my Panasonic is an ENG camera with a 3.9 to 86 millimeter. How many X is that? 1.6 video zoom lens. That's cool. That's a very powerful lens. It's not a deal breaker having a 4K 60p. It's just the crop. And he's right. So they act like it doesn't have 60p at all when it does. It's got 60p in it. And it's just a 1.5. And many times I'm forced to go to the 1.5 because I want the wider, like the 11 millimeter lens or the 10 to 20 millimeter lens that should be here tomorrow. It'll force the camera to go into crop mode. And I have no problem. I don't even see it. For me, it's seamless. Now, if it hurts your heart and it pains your heart like, oh, I'm shooting in a Super 35, okay, then don't buy the camera. The pain is not why you're in cameras. It's not to cause you pain. You're in cameras because you enjoy it. You like it. You like it. Mikey likes it. Okay. Randy says back focus button made it sharp. Back focus. Oh, the focus button that you put it on the back? So you push the button and it focuses? I have pressed the shutter and I didn't have any problems. Okay. At first I was having a problem because it didn't differentiate between the grass, the fence, and this and that. And I said, oh, I need to put it on the animal bird setting. I did that. The thing can spot a bird. And it can spot a car. Because that's what that kid, that's the NASCAR racer, he wants to take pictures while he's, or have someone take pictures while he's racing, and it will actually go and find a car for you. Lewis, who will be on tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Sly will be on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. Peter Gregg will be on Friday night at 10 o'clock. So, anybody else going live? Okay, so, and I do like the button to go from, and that just reminded me because Randy I used it for the photos. So the A7c II and the ZV-1 has an easy way to switch back over from video to still pictures, and the FX2 is even easier. It just says either movie, click, pictures. I think it says stills. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to bump your ears. So there we go. Oh, Shane's coming in. Let me get my my earbuds on while he's getting himself ready, and we'll have a little chit chat. Now I'll give you an advance warning. Shane is a Lumix guy. He loves that camera like I love Eleanor. Okay, and I'm getting all shaky now with Eleanor because it was like there was no camera better than Eleanor. Sorry. And now, if you told me 5 months ago that I would have moved out of Eleanor to something else, I'd say, you crazy. You is crazy, boy. You is crazy. All right, now let me see if I can hear Shane. Let's get this behind my ear. Okay, I think I'm set up. Software update. Do you want to update your software? Heck no. What the heck is wrong with you? Okay, so let's put Shane up here. And let's see. Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I working?
Okay. Yeah, you sound good. You look good. And you look like $1 million.
The power of the cheap webcam. It's built into the screen.
Oh, is it? Is that the one? Is it 1080 or 720?
720, I think.
It still looks marvelous. It looks marvelous.
Awesome.
So did I do a good presentation on that FX2? Because there's a lot of negativity about that camera.
I think yeah.
And I started to listen to some of it, and some of them were going like, this camera doesn't even need to exist. Sony is just trying to milk people because they're just going to come out with an FX Mark II in 6 months or something. And I know Shane knows these models. Okay. So I'm sorry, FX3 in a couple of months, and try to get you to buy the FX2. And then when they come out with the FX3 Mark II, they're saying it's all a marketing ploy. But then when I looked at each individual camera, and I own, out of these cameras, I own the ZV-E1 and the A7 Mark II. I had the FX30 here for, I think, 3 months. Okay, that was a long-term loaner. The only one that I only had in here for a short time is the Sony A7 Mark IV. But there's a couple of our guys in our little family here that have that camera. So I get to ask questions firsthand. So like I do with you, Shane, if I have a question on the Lumix, I'll just shoot Shane a question. Can I, or should I, or do I? And it's a tool in his hand that actually is excellent. So
just to let people know too, I do own a Sony camera still. I got this guy. I bought that because of you. So yeah.
Oh, that looks like, is that the ZV-E1?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's another Eleanor, and the Australian Eleanor.
Yeah, I bought the white one to hopefully help it not overheat. It's been fine. Yeah, I've had no problems with it. It's cheaper too. I actually got it.
Yeah. And I bought the Ulanzi fan. to put on there.
Cool.
I haven't used it one time, not one single time.
Yeah, nice.
But I got it, so when I sell that camera, hey, I got the Ulanzi fan. I can go with it. Now, I would not give up that camera if I didn't feel I was going to have something as good as or better than. Okay? That's important to me. I don't like to go backwards, you know. So I was going to sell the S5 Mark II, which is what we're looking at right now. And Randy says, but you love that camera. And I started thinking, yeah, I do. So
I would argue
why?
that's still a better camera than the new Sony for a few reasons. But price.
Well, we're looking at it right now, you know.
Yeah.
So
the big problem I think a lot of people have who are outside of the US is the equivalent exchange rate sets the new camera at $3,700 US. That's what we would pay for it here. And for that price, you
which
can
camera?
buy the FX2. So that costs the equivalent of $3,700 US in Australia. It's $5,299, which
That's
is
the same price as the FX30. FX3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, at launch that was $6,000. That's what I paid for it.
I honestly expected the FX2 to come in at a much higher price, and when I saw it at $2,699, $2,700, I thought at first that's got to be a typo, because that camera shouldn't be that price for everything that it's got. It's basically one of the few cameras that has everything except full frame 60p. Okay. Yeah. So I was surprised.
What I'm saying, though, like the price of it here is inflated to a point where you can buy any number of cameras that will do like 4K 120 or 6K or open gate or all the other stuff. So you're spending more money on an older
then
the new body design's great.
Right. But if it was that price, I wouldn't be as tempted.
Yeah. It's basically $2.5. I could buy an S5 Mark II for about $2,000, or an X for maybe $3,000 if you're paying full price. So this is another $2,700 more for nothing. Interest. Like, I don't see, like, for me personally, I wouldn't buy it based on its price in Australia. The confusion was that the price in Australia was reflective of the price in the US, and it isn't. It's much cheaper, even with the exchange rate in the US, than it would be to buy it here. It's like way more expensive.
This might be a very, very ignorant and dumb question. Why wouldn't the price be the equivalent of what it is in the US?
Yeah,
why are they grabbing more money? Is it just for profit, or am I missing something major?
I think it's just brand name recognition, potentially. I'm not exactly sure, but to get 4K 60p cropped at nearly $6,000, like, it makes no sense. You can buy any. It just doesn't make sense financially here for that.
No. The ZVE1 is a better buy, honestly, at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
if you got it at a good price, I hope.
Yeah, I think I paid like $2,400 for this in Australian dollars.
Okay,
which was really good. And the new one, again, it's over 5,000, and you're getting a better body design, sort of, but like less actual video features. So it's a interesting sort of compromise.
So you heard my presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even if you don't agree with me on everything I said, all right, let's assume you don't agree with me at all. All right. Would you say because they fixed all of these different features on the different cameras in one camera, which would be the FX2, is that giving us a secret code to say that Sony has no intentions of correcting any of those issues? They'll say, well, the FX2 fixes all of those issues you mentioned, Peter. And I'm thinking, like, well, I'd like them to come out with the ZVE1 with a better cooling system. I'd like them to take the ZVE1 and put a 33 megapixel sensor in that, or even a 24. Is that kind of saying, hey, we don't plan on updating all those cameras as soon as you think it's going to happen? Or is it just marketing rubbish, Yeah,
you never know. Like, it's all companies release something and then everyone gets hyped and they buy it. Then they release something else a couple of months later. It's happened with all of the brands. Sony did it with the A7s III and FX3, and then you had the same thing happen with the G9 Mark II and the GH7. The S1R Mark II and the S1 Mark II were only a few months apart. So you never know.
The
And
G9 Mark II, great camera. I'm thinking, like,
awesome.
why would I want to buy a GH7? You know?
Yeah.
Well, I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but, you know, boys and their toys, I want what's at the top of the food chain. But the G9 was no slouch. The G9 Mark II, awesome. I mean, the G9 Mark II is no slouch whatsoever. Yeah. You know? And
I think the biggest problem I had with it was not looking at the difference in the price. Again, I don't think it's a better camera than the S5 Mark IIX, yet it's $2,500 more expensive. I'm not sure why. And that EVF kills me. Like, the fact that it's as big as it is, sitting out of the back, flat, every time you're going to put it in a bag, you're going to have to position it properly. That's one thing that concerns me if you plan on moving it around. Obviously, there's ways you can probably pack it where it's going to be fine. But you know what the famous Peter Gregg said, you know, sometimes the hinges creak and rattle on things. And I don't trust the design of that, to be honest. It's sort of not something that it should.
Which one?
I would have liked the FX2. Sorry, it should have been. I would have liked to have seen some sort of removable EVF.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the EVF seems to be a point of contention. But I had a camera in here, I would say in the last year and a half, where it did go up and down. Probably a Sony camera, and I had no problems with it. Okay. Cool. I have not held the FX2, so I might hate it, okay? Or it might be fine. So I'm just looking at other people. I can't wait till you get one in your hands, because I'll know somebody that I know intimately that if he says, oh, this is terrible, it really means it's terrible. And that's you, you know.
I don't think it'll be a bad camera. I just think, at least where I live, it's $2,000 too expensive.
Yeah, the price is your key.
And it doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing. It's as expensive as a camera that can do 6K 60 and all the other great things, the better IBIS and all the other codecs. Yet you got crops, and it's basically the same price almost as the S1 Mark II, which
that's what I wrote down.
Experience too. You got the same weird top joystick thing with an EVF, and you can't put the wireless pack on there without the EVF being flat, and that sort of cancels that out. The mic ports right down the bottom left-hand side. I don't know. It just didn't seem like. Again, if it was $2,999 here, it would sell like crazy, but it's $5,300.
That's one of the things that I wrote for the FX3, that what it fixes is the $3,900 price point. Now, they do go on sale, and they'll go as low as $3,300. But the FX3 seems to be more held in esteem than the A7s Mark III, which is the same camera. Okay, one's got an EVF and the other one doesn't. Other than that, they're the same. Everything is the same. But with that big of a price difference, it kills it. Yeah. Now, what I'd like to, I don't want to say challenge you on, but I would like to say I'd like to hear a really good, solid answer from somebody that I know is capable of giving that. What does the X do for you in real life that the non-X, I did not buy the X, but most people that have the X emphasize that. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not going to shoot ProRes. The files are too big. They're huge. You know, and stuff like that. So other than bragging rights, does the X give you something that you really do use? I'd like to know what that is, just out of curiosity.
The one thing I do use occasionally is the SSD recording. If I'm doing a long shoot,
you'll plug in an external. Okay.
It's actually right on my desk here somewhere. It's right there. Yeah, so I use it quite a bit in the studio for that. But that's about it. They're basically the same camera. But yeah, I've got a whole bunch of those S5 Mark IIs for my multi-camera studio on my other channel, and they're great. There's not a difference at the end of the day. It's just that's that one thing that I use. I wouldn't say I use it all the time, but I use it enough that it's kind of like one of my primary cameras in here.
All right, so let me. Travis has made a comment, and welcome, Travis. Love you. Thank you for being here. However, if they only put the ZVE1 A7S3 sensor in it, it would have been the new go-to. I think that's one of the features, Travis, that attracts me, is the 33 megapixel sensor. I have the ZVE1 and the 12 megapixel sensor when I do things like birds or cars or something that's far away. It limits my cropping ability. If I'm doing people or something like that, it doesn't, unless I have a group and I want to pull one face out. Then again, so you like the 12 megapixel sensors, what you're saying, Travis, right? That's what I like about the A7C, that it has the 33 megapixel sensor in it. So I'm not saying it to be argumentative. I'm just saying it to show you that different people have a different point of view. If they are able to put a 12 megapixel sensor in there, why can't they put an 18 or a 21 and bring it in, give me so that when you do crop, you're not cropping down to 6, you know, and you're, you know, from 18 or 21, then you can be cropping down to 12 and you're doing all right, you know. So just a different point of view. It's not like a line in the sand. I wouldn't draw my sword over it. But if I had my druthers, I'd rather have the 33 megapixel sensor. And that's why I moved over to the A7C Mark II. I don't find the sensor lacking. In other words, it's like, oh, the A7 Mark IV, it's an old sensor. Sony makes really sharp images, okay, with videos and their pictures. And it's somewhere they excel. I'm not knocking anyone else down. I'm just saying I'm usually never disappointed in a Sony image or video. Okay.
They're good on tripods. Like I had a Sony A7 IV for like 3 days and I took it back and got the A7S III. Handheld, it was the worst experience I've had shooting with a camera.
Which?
The Sony A7 IV.
Ah.
On a tripod, it looked beautiful. But as soon as you start moving it around, it's one of the only times where I've noticed like rolling shutter be an actual problem for me. I'm going to ask you a question
to look at too. Yeah.
How do you like? What's the advantage? I know the price is different for you, right? So you got to keep into mind. For me, the new FX2 is basically almost as expensive as an FX3 for you, right? So the price doesn't make sense here. But what advantage do you see from that camera over the S5 Mark II, given at least where I live, it's $2,300 cheaper?
The only advantage that I see is one that you would not consider at all. Okay. Yeah. It's the weight. I'm small, and I like the ZVE1 because of the weight first. That's what attracted me to that camera. Now, I have the 10 to 18, I think it's made by Sigma, for the Lumix. It mates with it really, really good. I don't have the 18 millimeter, which would make it a full frame. All right, so the 10 to 18 gives me like a 15 to 18, and it's perfect, except if I'm going to walk around and do the my hand is out of the frame. If I'm going to walk around and do the talk to the camera while hand holding, the S5 II is too heavy. Okay, and cool. You can call me names. You can call me a wimp, whatever you choose. But
everyone likes different stuff, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what attracts me to the ZVE1, is that it's 299 grams. It's one of the lighter bodies out there. Okay.
No, hang on. We're not talking about this. That makes sense. I'm talking about the FX2. So imagine that was $2,000 more expensive than it is, or $1,000 more expensive.
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So what is it about that's interesting over something like an S5 Mark II, given the price difference?
The weight.
Basically,
what I would move to if I started
lighter, is it?
Yeah. What I would move to would be the FX30, because if I had heating problems. Other than the heating problems, I think I could solve everything else myself other than I can't make it a 33 megapixel, but I'm not printing anything large anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So the
Do you
only
think
thing
as
I
a
cannot fix is the heating. And but I do have the Ulanzi fan, so I shouldn't even say that, you know. So
do you use the joystick much on cameras when you're shooting photos?
do I use what?
The joystick on
Oh,
cameras?
I found it because Randy's been on my back, and I found the Sony joystick, and I've got this one, which that's not it. I've got
No,
this
no, no.
one.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about these.
Oh yeah, I use that a lot. Why are you
Yeah,
asking?
so because as a photographer, is it weird having a joystick on top of the FX2?
Is
Or
that
that
where it
doesn't
is on the
bother you?
FX2? It's on the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
That's one of the things on the FX30 I did not like is the
Hmm.
joystick is up on top. Okay,
Yeah.
because many times when they design these cameras, the for the video recording, the joysticks, they got them not where your fingers are, you
Hmm.
know, to go over to these places. So I might not like that. I might not like that the joystick is on the top. Um, I'm not going to shoot the camera for it, but I would have rather it would be somewhere, you know, more normal. Uh,
Yeah, I've had that on. I had the FX3 and FX30, and yeah, ergonomically, they're great build. I love the build quality of the cameras and everything else, but it does take you a while to get used to using it up there. And I just wondered, as a photographer, like I take photos in the studio and when I'm traveling, and I'm so used to having the joystick right here on. Even my A7S III at the time had it here, which was great. And
mhm.
it's a hard habit to break. I just wondered how you might feel using it on the top, if it's something, or if it's something you don't even use. But for video, obviously, it's not going to be a problem. But being that it's
Uh,
like a hybrid photo camera now, it's kind of strange.
if you grab your ZVE1
Hmm.
and show it, show me the top, top. There you go. All right, the button to the right of the red start stop button.
Yep.
Okay, that one. I remapped that button to go into uh, where I changed the modes, PS, AM, and stuff like that, because that's what's
Oh yeah.
missing on that camera terribly.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, if I grab it to walk around, I want to go into P mode, and
Hmm.
if I bring it somewhere else, I might want to go into aperture and control the aperture, like I did birds today. I want to go over,
Hmm.
and I had the shutter up to 1/2500. Okay, so the on the A7 Mark II, A7C Mark II, that's easy switch. On the ZVE1, it takes me forever to switch it over to, you know, A mode, S mode, P mode. I just mapped it over to that button, and I just have to remember that I did that, and that made that camera very usable. The FX30, it's got a mode button right on the back, on the body. I mean, where you could change them. It's a dedicated button for that. So all these different cameras have these little quirks and stuff, and that's when it started to the light come on in my mind, where they were fixing all this with the FX2. Okay, so the viewfinder is something that I'm going to see if I like it. And I
Hmm.
remember I wasn't too happy with the FX30 with the joystick on the top. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have to see how much of an annoyance that is, and might be something I might just have to live with. You know, because you can't
Yeah.
remap the joystick. You know,
Yeah, I think
that
for what you do, you probably get a kick out of it. I mean, the fan's a huge thing to have, and being that it's not
yeah.
extortion sort of pricing in the
And when you
US
hold
like
the
it is here.
camera, I hold the camera with my hands like this, and
Hmm.
I get a pinky underneath so that I don't do an oops and it goes to the
Yep.
ground, and then I pin it. So I don't know. Maybe the joystick is going to be a happy camper up there or not. I won't know till the camera's in my hands. It's going to be one of those things that I really didn't think of until you just put it in my head, you know. So I'll have to be paying attention to that. So,
I'm sure you'll get a kick out of it. I mean, you
well, the
always
one
get.
thing you did not mention is the S9. Now, the S9 is a great camera for to be a replacement for the ZVE1. Okay.
This is actually my two favorite small cameras right here. This guy,
Yeah.
it's great. All the slow motion stuff and all the good stabilization in this one. So
Right.
yeah, it's a great sort of combo. I love the S9. It's I reckon the most misunderstood launches. It's
Well,
pretty great.
actually, you just brought up a really good point. Uh, and these are fighting words, okay? But Panasonic, Lumix, whatever the
Yeah,
hot name is, they kind of deluded themselves by sticking with the DFD focus for that long, where it's kind of hard for them to gain new ground now when they actually have a better camera, in all honesty, than or equal to or better than a lot of, let's say it's better than most of the cameras that Canon is putting out. And Canon's got the name. They've got the marketing share and the name, okay? And I think Panasonic and Lumix is having a hard time gaining traction because of their own doing. Because when it comes down to lenses, they've got 2.5 great lens lines. The Panasonic lens, all their lenses are great. They have a whole line of primes where they're all exactly the same size. So if you're on a gimbal or something, it's a no-brainer. You switch from one lens to the other, and you don't really have to recalibrate your gimbal. Okay, and then because Sigma is in the same family, you get all those lenses, and the half is the Leica. And the only reason I count them as half is the pricing. People can't buy an $8,000 lens.
No.
It's
I
only
think
doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, I kind of think things can shift pretty quickly. Remember when everyone was shooting GH5s and no one was using anything else, especially online? Like, I know it's not the only audience, but if you take a look at the YouTube thing, nearly everybody was using GH5s. Everyone had one. Like,
I had one.
Multiples. You had one?
I had two.
Yeah. I bought a GH5S based on your testing. And
it was a good camera.
It's great. But then they shot themselves in the foot by not updating the autofocus. Then it shifted, right? But if Sony, it's easy to get complacent, and if they don't match or beat the S1 Mark II, I think that'll be the new GH5 for online creators at least, and maybe not everybody. But it's one of those cameras I could almost see. There's already people deciding to sell FX3s and all the clickbaity videos and all that kind of stuff. But it's way better. I had one in my hands I've actually sent it back, but as a FX3 owner, it was no comparison. If they had been out at the same time, which they weren't, so Sony gets the win there. There was no way I would have bought the FX3. It's just better in every way, this new one, for me personally. The in-body image stabilization's the most important thing for me, almost over anything else.
I agree. Where I don't agree is, well, before I say I don't agree, let me get your opinion so I know what it is, and then I'll disagree with you. Why don't you count the dynamic active as really something
terrible? It's good with wide-angle lenses when you're walking straight. Try it with a 35
or 50
millimeter.
You did ask me to do it, and I didn't do
Horrible.
that. Okay.
It changes completely.
I have
yeah, it's really bad.
Okay,
it's
I'll check it.
I think I'm cutting you off. I don't mean to. I'm getting a bit of lag. I'm on Wi-Fi, but
don't worry.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's great with the wider angle lenses if you're doing a similar sort of shot. But the Lumix thing just wipes the floor with it at different focal lengths, especially just for follow shots and stuff. It really is quite a lot better. But it's not how everyone will need it, right? If you're using mostly wide angle lenses, then it doesn't. They're basically the same. But yeah, there's cropless modes on the new cameras where it doesn't actually change your field of view. So that's pretty cool too. So I think they've got the advantage there with the image stabilization. But it's all what people enjoy using and what works for them. And I've just had the displeasure of spending too much money on stuff over the last 5 years to test out enough stuff. And I
thought
moved
in and out. Yeah, you moved in and out of quite a few. You even went
Yeah,
into the Olympus, moved out of the Olympus. Did you go
yeah.
back in again, or you once
No,
you got out, you stayed out? Okay.
no, it wasn't
Uh,
quite for me. I
yeah.
preferred the image quality out of some of the other cameras I had at the time, but
Well, I think
yeah.
you very much have settled into the Lumix line,
Mm,
and it is a top of the line camera. So it's not like you know, I don't want to name anything, but it would be kind of like you're rooting for a team because you're really into that team. I think it's a great I'm shooting with it again. I wanted to bring it up because I don't have the tag up there. That I wound up keeping the S5 Mark II, and I'm putting the ZV-E1 up for sale, which should
hmm
say a lot because I really, really like the ZV-E1. Okay. It's I got the kind of family that as soon as I raise a camera, I get all these nasty comments. Don't take a picture of me, which kills all the family gatherings, and we have a large family, you know.
I
So
don't think
I
I'm necessarily rooting for a team, by the way. Like I literally had all micro four thirds stuff, ended up getting full frame Sony stuff on the most part, and then
mhm.
moving back. The reason I ended up selling my FX2 and A7s III, I had a lot of money tied up in cameras I wasn't using for the reason why I bought them. I found better
That's a
alternatives.
better way to
I
define
found
it.
better alternatives that were cheaper for my use. They were limited
Yeah.
in other ways, 4K 60 crops, but for me, I don't really care about that too much. I only care about it if they're trying to charge $5,200 in Australia. If they're charging 25, it doesn't matter, right? Like to me, value's a big thing, and yeah, like the
I,
stabilizer and the value are the two things I look at the most. And
I
um,
look at
yeah,
that too,
what I
which is why I'm
yeah,
so surprised
Mm.
with the dynamic active. But you got me on the one point that where I do use it is on the wide
Yeah, it's
because
great.
I'm walking around, and because of my age, I'm kind of sensitive to allowing a camera to get too close to my face because it shows.
hmm
Okay, so this one, the S5 Mark II that I'm using now, doesn't have the skin softener that the Sonys do, and yet by working with the master pedestal and the fact that
Right.
you can raise and lower the highs and the lows, the curves and stuff.
hmm
It's like I can simulate a better version of the skin softener, you know, because I know where the skin sits. Because I
You got
do
to set it to
portraits for
maximum.
weddings and stuff, you know. I know how
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make. I have to know how to make the bride look good. Otherwise, I
yeah.
got a problem on my hands. It's like, you know, she's got to spend money and she's got to
Have you
look
ever
like a model, you know.
have you ever set the skin softening to maximum on this before?
No, I put it to low. That's where I have it to
You
low.
should do a
I
video for April Fool's Day. Just turn it on and have a look. It's hilarious. I left it on by mistake, and I was like, "Oh man, this is hilarious."
There's is it like need image? Need image will make
It like it
make
almost.
you
Sorry, I don't mean to keep
plaster
cutting
your
you off.
face. No, that's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. It does. I think I got a few seconds lag or something, but it's kind of yeah. It looks like it's painted your face almost.
Right.
It's hilarious.
So
But
Travis,
yeah.
let's address Travis here for a second, because other than the no, Peter, he's made some good comments. The no, Peter one, that one's not so good. I'm playing with you, Travis. But what Travis said, where is it? Okay. The FX2 is the new A7 Mark III. Well, the new A7 Mark III should be the A7 Mark IV because that's out and it's popular. Okay. However, what got me into Sony to begin with was the A7 Mark III. It's the only camera that I found that was equaling my GH5, which was giving me beautiful. People complimented me. You look so good. I'm sorry. The picture looks so great and everything. And the GH5 just gave me nice colors and gave
Yeah.
me, when I did my live shows and stuff, it was one of those that just was a winner at every corner. So the A7 Mark III, I bought an Icon. I bought an Icon Z6 and it failed me. And out of desperation, I bought the A7 Mark III, and I stayed with that for over 2 years, and I think a lot of people have that same feeling. The A7 III was a winning camera for a lot of people for what they were doing. Okay. And for Travis to liken the FX2 to be that camera is not for a narrow group of people like you and me, but it's more for a wider content creator that wants a good picture, wants an easy camera to work with, wants good results. They're not going to pick on, oh, it's got a 1.5 crop and things like that. So I like that point. The FX2 might be a winning seller for Sony. And people are just not realizing it. And all these professional people like Gerald Undone and Chris and Jordan and everybody that's being flown places, and they've got to find the good, the bad, the ugly, and slip it in. The FX2 could just wind up being the go-to camera. You want a nice camera? Go buy that one. Now you're.
I just wish it was competitive against cameras with similar features. It's priced
in price.
way
Yeah,
too much.
Your pricing is.
I can't stress that enough. I didn't double check the price overseas. I just looked at what we had here. And I was like $53.99 at $6,000 with the XLR adapter. And I thought, come on, man.
Now,
That's
when
what I
you
paid for
come
my
here,
FX3.
when you come here and you buy a camera, how do you get back in your country with that camera?
Oh, I haven't actually done that, but I just pop it in my camera bag. You could easily do that if you wanted to. I mean, I don't know what you've got when you leave. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because
you can declare stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be declaring nothing. No no declarations.
Not that I've done that personally, of course. I was just saying people do that.
Of course,
kind of stuff.
me too.
Yeah.
So,
I think look, at the end of the day, like everybody gets, they're all hyped for new releases, or they hate new releases, or it's all perspective on stuff. But like I said, not everybody's the target audience for every product, and everybody forgets
that is a key statement.
Everybody forgets it. I used to think like that. I said that in my last video. I used to think that I was the target audience for every new release from the stuff that I loved, and I'm not. And I've now realized that, so it's a lot easier for me not to get too hyped up with wanting the next camera. I'm actually it's the first time where I'm like pretty comfortable with everything I've got works for what I need it to do, and I'm pretty happy. I don't really need anything new. Need and want is always a different thing, but I got my travel cameras sorted. I got these little guys, I got my studio stuff sorted, and I don't shoot in like higher frame rates in the studio, so it doesn't really matter. Like for me, the stuff I've got looks great. I'm happy with it, minus this webcam.
Actually, if you didn't say anything, nobody would even notice. You look fine.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Not even it doesn't even raise a question mark. No red flags or anything.
It looks like I got background blur. Is this Ecamm doing that?
I don't know, but you do have background blur from what I see. Your steel shelving looks blurry.
Yeah, that's
not
so
tremendously blurry, but it does look blurry.
Nice. It's the power of the MacBook Air.
Is that what you're running, the MacBook Air?
Yeah, just the M1.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I haven't got a proper setup for doing what you do with this, so I need to work that out.
I don't understand that last sentence. I thought you were set up.
Oh, I am, but I'm not set up for like calls like this with my cameras. Like I don't have it set up into I don't have a computer in this room basically, so I brought my laptop in. Yeah.
Yeah. But you do have Ecamm, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So if you get like the M1 that you got now, you could put Ecamm in there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know how much room.
I just haven't set it up since I moved. So it's sort of like
how's the new house going? How's the new place?
No, it's great, thanks.
Are you finally happy? Because I was disheartened when you got into a new house. I was excited, and then it's like I don't like this place. And I did not expect to hear that. That was a
Me
shock,
either.
you know.
Yeah, it finally sold, and it's all done. 3 days ago, it all got sorted out. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to. Oh, this place has been great. It's night and day better than the old house. I'm a month ahead on my guitar channel now because of this house. I haven't been that far ahead in a long time. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot better.
You still running 2 rooms or 1 room?
2, yeah.
You
So
start? Okay.
this is my like I don't know.
Yeah,
Can't see, but yeah, it's the same old setup but different room.
right.
It's
I
great.
didn't know if you were using 2 walls or 2 rooms.
At the old place, it was 2 walls,
Yeah,
and I didn't enjoy that much. So
I remembered
yeah.
that. The swivel chair, swivel it around. We have
Yeah. Yeah.
a new set, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, I think we have done our show. Unless there's something else you want to talk about.
No, I'm pretty much out of ideas, but I guess the takeaway is like for people, if you like the camera and it's for you, then it's a good thing. Don't worry about everybody else.
Well, the big deal, which is not even on my list, is for you. The price knocks the camera out.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. There's no reason for it in your book. For that kind of money, I'd rather you got another S5X2 or the
You could buy 2 almost.
the S1. How much is the S1?
It's $5,600. The S1 Mark II, and
it's up
this
there.
other one's 53. So for $300 more, you're getting.
Oh, never-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not even close.
Yeah. Now have you held the S1 Mark II? I've watched your videos, but I watched so much stuff I don't remember what everybody's done.
Yeah, when I last spoke to you, I was in Austin.
Okay, so that's right. You were there, so you had
Yeah.
the camera in hand. How
Yeah.
heavy is it compared to the S1? Never mind the Mark II, but the
It's
S1
about
way too heavy. You know, in terms of weight.
so the S1 Mark II's slightly heavier than the S5 Mark II. It's
Oh,
kind
that's
of
what-
similar. It's kind of similar to a GH6 or 7, but not quite as chunky as that one.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
was
about.
hoping they weren't going to make another brick, the S1H
No, it's not
one
that
or whatever
big.
it was.
No way.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was. So that's okay. There really isn't a lot they can do in the cameras. I'm actually backing up for a second because I feel like you do. Until the FX2 came out, I was very happy with what I had. Okay, and I was always very pleased with the Lumix S5 Mark II. The picture that I'm getting out of this, to me, is a wonderful picture. I have no problems with that picture. You know, it matches the Nikon and the ZVE1. So selling the ZVE1 was a bit of a humiliation because I've been heralding how wonderful I like that camera. And then all of a sudden, I've got the A7C Mark II. And I'm thinking like, oh, I like this camera better than the ZVE1. And how am I going to tell everybody? Well, I'm just going to say it, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's what it's
if
all about. You got to find what works for you. And this
Right.
new one with the full-size HDMI and all that kind of stuff and the price, it's great if you live in the US. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and if you don't,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
killer. It really,
I think that's.
not even a slight killer. It's a major killer.
I haven't
You
seen
know?
how much it is in Canada, but I feel like the pricing in different areas is going to be wildly different. You know, like
Well,
to
you got
point
the
where-
UK, you got Canada, you got what's the price in Japan? What's another big market that we would consider? I don't know one, but whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little markets. I don't go looking at those.
Mhm.
So, but I did watch your video, and if anybody has not seen Shane's video on the FX2, that's a good video to watch to get a good. You were very fair. I mean, I know you liked the Panasonic, and I didn't realize the price crunch that was happening when
Yeah.
I was watching your video because I figured, oh, I'm going to get comfortable now, and I'm going to watch your video because it's going to be an honest feedback, you know. And little by little, I started to realize what you were saying, and I'm going like, there's got to be something. Was it the tariffs or something? And I'm going, well, wait, Australia doesn't have the tariffs. It's the U.S.
No.
that has the tariffs, you know. So don't know what is going on, you know.
I don't know. The conversion price, a lot of cameras, if you do the conversion from US to Australian dollars and add 10% for tax, that's about right. This one's wildly out of balance.
Line. It's out
Yeah.
of balance. Okay.
Anyway, that was my only real nitpick based on, you know, what it was. But otherwise, again, if it was less expensive, it would be great. If you don't plan on shooting much slow motion, it's a killer camera. You know, for that kind of stuff, it's great. The image quality is going to be fine. So,
well,
yeah,
what about those that do use slow motion? What are they going to run into?
Just limitations like the S5 Mark II has. Like the crops aren't always for everybody. There's no 4K 120 if you need it. I don't think that's a deal breaker necessarily. You know, it's great having 4K 120, but I shoot 1080p 120 a lot now. No one cares, just to save a bit of data. Yeah. So, you know, it is what it is.
That becomes important. It does become important to save a little here and there.
Yeah.
It gets heavy when you bring it into the computer. It's like a big weight. And I've been taking a lot of pictures with the new lens that Randy sent me. And I'm using that software that you thought you had, but you didn't, Photomator. And
yeah, I thought you meant Pixelmator because you said Pixelmator at the start. I think I replied, and then I went, "Oh no, that's a different program." So sorry about that.
It is a gem. It's a gem. Yeah. It is so easy to work with that I am very, very pleased, especially for the price, $79 here. I don't know what happens over there, and no subscription fees. So you buy it, it's one and done. You know. So it's kind of like an extension to Apple's Photos, but leaning heavily towards Lightroom stuff.
Yeah, great.
So I think you brought a lot to the table tonight that I didn't consider, and
you know way more about this than me, mate. So don't worry about that.
Well, nothing's knocked it out. I'm still on the track. The price would. I could tell you right now, because if I could sell these cameras and have enough money to buy the new camera, I'm happy. And that's why I'm happy. Okay. Now, if I sell these cameras and I'm only halfway there, now we got a problem. I'm just going to keep the cameras that I got, you know, and that's where it lands. And that's why I feel sorry for what you're going through, that, you know, you've got to deal with that. Now, Randy
sorry.
Go ahead.
Randy, I was just going to say.
Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
All right. I was just going to say, if it came in at the equivalent US dollars to Australian dollar conversion kind of thing like we've been talking about, I'd be interested as well if I was looking for a Sony again. It really, it's fine for what it does at that price for me. But yeah, it was just, as we already explained. Sorry. Go for it.
All right. So Pixelmator, which is the one that you've got, is much more Photoshop-ish in its abilities. And it's also a onesie, like Photoshop, unless you get an external software that lets you run through the pictures. Photomator versus Pixelmator is much more targeted at Lightroom, and you get that film strip at the bottom, so you can go from picture to picture to picture to picture to picture. Okay? And I'm very embedded in Lightroom, so seeing how much it operates like Lightroom makes it an easy purchase for me to have made. Because out of all the ones that I've seen, the only one that really attracts me, I don't like the way it works, but I like what it does, and that is the Topaz, where they could take a fuzzy picture and make it not going to be like what you're going to get or I'm going to get straight out of the camera, but it's going to be where you're not even going to question there was a problem with this picture. You know, like a very out of focus picture, and it looks just fine, you know. Or a very old picture's got scratches and everything, and it just remakes the face and does all that. It's $200, which is a little heftier in price. I tried it once, maybe a year and a half ago, and I wasn't too happy. And I'm not interested in spending $200 now. The $79 was just up my alley, and I bought the Photometer, so I was
I
really
reckon
happy with that.
I always think like these subscription services to stuff. I personally, I avoid it if I can at all costs.
Okay.
I don't care what the software is. I used to use Photoshop back in the day, but as soon as the Adobe thing went to the you got to pay for it
model,
forever,
right?
yeah, I was like, I'm done.
Yep.
So moving to Mac, at least I had some options there. I haven't paid for Final Cut since I first paid for it, and same with Pixelmate has been like the best investment I've made for a piece of like I use it for all my thumbnails, and it's great. And I'll check out the other one too, the Photomator one.
Which one?
Photomator. I need to check that out.
No. Which one are you referring to that you?
Oh, like Pixelmator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they work very similar. They work similar.
Yeah, it's great.
The other one is more Photoshopish. All right, guys. Thank you for what you brought to the table, Shane. I appreciate you very, very much. He's besides great with the cameras and the film. He's really a good friend of mine too. So that adds a lot to the mix. And say hi to your significant other over there. And
yeah, we'll do. We're sort of planning something at the moment, so I don't know exactly when, but if anything happens, I'll let you know.
Okay. I got a spot for you right over here.
We might be over your neck of the woods again at some point. So
yeah, that's great. Oh, maybe I'll have the FX2 by that time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or not. We'll see.
Come on, you need it, Peter. Come on.
Oh, I need it. Listen to you egging me on. Well, it's not like you. Although I did buy the microphone system because of you, the Saramonic mic.
Oh, they did great.
And what else did I buy? Oh, the voice isolation is 100% you. It's
great, huh?
You said, why aren't you using it? And I said, I don't even know what that is. And you go, oh, it's right there. It's right there. What do you mean you don't know what it is?
They just added it in silently and in some update.
Yeah.
Like,
I use it even if I don't need it. I'll put it down to 20 or something like that. And just put it in there, So that's on Final Cut Pro, you guys, if you don't know what we're talking about. All right. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much, Shane, for coming in and popping in. You're welcome every week. Come. And so is everybody else. Okay. I like this to be an open round table rather than just be all about me. So we'll both say good night to everybody, and God willing, and the bridge isn't up. And what's the other saying? Oh, my goal is the sky and not the grave. I like that one.
Yeah, cool.
So, all right, Shane. I'll say good night to you and say good night to everybody else. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.